Hi Stephen, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Looking forward to chatting today. I know you've got 3 projects live in different sort of levels of progress. So please give us an update. Doesn't necessarily have to be a COVID-based update, but yeah. So you've got 3 projects on. Tell us about your 3 projects. Or should we do it one at a time? Let's do one at a time. Okay. So the one that I'm really interested to know about, the new build. Tell us about the new build, because it's been a little bit of a ride, hasn't it? Grenfell cladding type issues, and yeah, over to you.
Yeah, we've had a bit of a roller coaster with that. It's a lot of it was to do with admin. It's a strange thing. Just getting the right details from the developer has been a bit of a challenge. So it's like there's 4 blocks in the site, and a block that
where is this?
No, so it's in the outskirts of Leeds, just southeast of Leeds city centre. Really nice, just 1-bed flat, right on the edge of the city centre with a car parking space. So I think it'll be a nice little balance for the right person wanting to live just on the edge of town. So as I was saying, just basically another block which my flat isn't in has some level of cladding, which as far as we can tell is safe, and we've got now a certificate to say that the building inspectors have signed it off and whatever. But to get to this stage was just incredibly difficult. It was unbelievable just how many people I had to go through to get the information that I needed, just to be able to present it to mortgage companies to say, the building inspector signed it off. It's no concern. It's not going to burst into flames. There's no problem with that.
I've heard the tough bit is, isn't there only about 8 qualified cladding inspectors in the country, something like that, and it's actually, that's the challenging part, getting it inspected by somebody that's qualified enough.
Yeah, I think that's a bigger problem with retrospectively checking cladding, but I'm unsure. Anyway, it's like we've got the document and everything's been signed off, so it's a good job, because they'd really struggled to sell any of the units, I guess, unless they'd had this document. And then I think in the process of the project getting over the line, they upped the standards, so there was suddenly a moment of panic where everybody was like, oh, does it meet the brand new standards that have just come in? And suddenly they had to go back and check and make sure and everything. And obviously it was all fine, it was no problem, but unless you've got the document to prove it, then it is what it is. Another challenge I've had with it is just going through a limited company in terms of the mortgage. So it just narrows down your options, and it means that if there's any little things that are going to spook a lender, like this cladding thing, or like people are fussy about the exact level of the ground rent and how that is in a percentage compared to the purchase price and stuff, it can just spook off a lender. And if you've only got a pick of 6 or 7 to start with, you can very quickly be down to 2 or 3. So it's still at a stage now where we're just about getting to where we thought we needed to be with it. And I know you said we didn't particularly want to talk about the virus, but then suddenly that comes in, and no mortgage value is going out at all to be able to sort of validate any values on properties. So then we're just basically totally frozen for 2 months, but it's luckily not built yet, and the virus also delayed the build, which means that hopefully by the time values are going out again, then we should be able to get the valuation done. But positive news from the solicitor and from the vendor, to be fair, they basically said as long as valuers aren't allowed to go out legally, they are not going to press the exchange, and they're not going to serve notice that we need to complete. So they basically have only had it verbally, but they basically said from the day that valuers can go out legally, as long as you've got one booked in, we can arrange the dates around that. So that's quite positive.
And did they pause the development Do you know anything on that side of things?
I believe it's been carrying on, but it's been slowed down. So it looks like they're only about a month behind where they needed to be. So I think if they'd stopped entirely, then we'd be a lot further behind than we are. So I think it's just while they've been bringing in the new social distancing rules and making sure everyone's safe on site, which is obviously totally understandable and what's most important, then it's obviously bound to have slowed things down. Just while people got their head around the rules, really, and if they needed screens and masks and extra cleaning stations and stuff, you can't just turn up one day with all that stuff in the back of a van, can you? You need to source it and get it there.
100%, yeah. So plenty of challenges there, and obviously you're not over the line yet either, because you're currently in a situation where you're waiting for a surveyor to go out, or you've not quite booked it yet. That could throw up a few challenges within itself, couldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, luckily we've had the advice from the vendor that they will wait on that. So it's just liaising now with the mortgage brokers on a sort of weekly basis to see like what options we have, how we can get it over the line. It might be a case of, to get it over the line, I sort of take a lower loan to value than I was hoping for, just to get it done and get it happening, get it let. And that's one of those things. If I can get it let, then it doesn't matter so much, because then the money is still locked in it, and I can access it at a later date. It's maybe not ideal, but given the circumstance, it is what it is.
And hopefully you'll get a really, good mortgage term based on the 0.1 rate that we've currently got. I'm not sure if any of them new deals have started filtering through yet, because we're in we're just starting to come out of lockdown this week, really, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. So fingers crossed that the base rate going down to obviously such a low level means that the mortgage the mortgage interest rates are strong, and like you say, you can lock them in for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. So if you can get the right rate, probably lock in for 5 years and then just see where we're at in 2025. That's
brilliant.
Seems like the great scary future.
Well, plenty of challenges, plenty to discuss. Obviously, keep us updated. We want to hear, we want to keep telling us about the challenges until you've got it over the line, until you've got it tenanted. So moving swiftly on, I know you've got another flat project that you've been dealing with. Tell us a little bit about the one in Queensbury.
Yeah, that was probably one of the most frustrating, really, because it needed just absolute minimal of refurb. I decided to go sort of over and above that slightly, just to make it the nicest flat in the block. So it's a grade 2 listed mill.
Nice.
Has just been converted into a load of sort of 1, 2 and 3 bedroom flats. Got a really good deal on.
Where did you find it?
Well, as you very well know, it came through the auction house, West Yorkshire.
Oh, brilliant!
And a very good deal, which I won't go into exactly here, but had to complete very quickly. I had 14 days to get the money over the line, all in cash. So that was a fun challenge and quite exciting. But then so decided to go slightly over and above with just putting new carpets down, decorating it, making sure it's the nicest flat there. And then the amount of time that took, which wasn't a lot of time, just took us into the point where estate agents couldn't do viewings anymore. So it went onto the market for a week. 2 viewings got booked. They immediately got cancelled because they weren't allowed to do it. And then we've been sat here for a couple of months now, vacant, unfortunately, because we can't do any viewings. But as of yesterday, I've been told that we're now allowed to do socially distanced viewings. I didn't put any pressure on the estate agent. They came to me and said, this is what we're doing. We've put the appropriate items in place. Obviously, it's an empty flat, so should be reasonably safe in terms of conducting the viewing. And, hopefully we'll have a tenant soon.
Fantastic. Any other issues that you've had to overcome apart from anything with the refurb?
No, that one was reasonably straightforward, other than the fact that it was probably quite so small a job that I ended up doing all the run around myself, which isn't really what I like to do. I'd rather have somebody who's my main source of contact, a project manager, who will, run the whole project for me and hand them over the keys, and then, I'm focused on the next deal and the next project, and I'll look at it from a higher perspective. But because it was such a small job, I ended up sort of being in and out, doing all the things, and really
buying tins of paint.
Yeah, exactly. Buying the paint, meeting everybody on site, and just probably not making best use of my time. But it's all a learning experience, and it'll be just a lesson for future projects.
Great. So what's to do with that project apart from tenant it? You're putting it on are you doing the 6-month rule?
Right. Yeah. So we're 5 months into. I've owned it for 5 months essentially as of today, as we speak, and it was bought cash, so we wouldn't be able to refinance it with a standard lender until 6 months. So as long as it's tenanted, I would be looking to move that forward, as of the date of 6 months, and looking to refinance that and hopefully have a valuation on the mortgage which is way above what I paid for it.
And hopefully you'll get that valuation before we see an adjustment. There's a bit of a race at the minute, isn't there? It's like, you want to get that valuation in, out and done and on a solid product before property starts taking a dip, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, there's no obviously guarantee that there's going to be a dip. There's a lot of money been flooded into the economy, and inflation will be working over the next couple of years to probably raise house prices at some point. But if there's a short-term dip, luckily property is very illiquid, meaning that if the stock market tanks 40%, like the house market can't, just because you can't do transactions that fast. So it'll be really interesting to see what the data looks like over the next sort of 6 months in terms of what's happening. But I feel like a lot of people are frozen rather than there being a fire sale. But I'm not an economist, and you've just got to keep an eye and listen to smarter people than you.
100% agree. Yeah. So 2 projects down, one to go. Commercial Street. So just give us a bit of background on what that one is. Okay,
so that's just a 2-bed terraced house, which again I bought from auction for a reasonably good price just before Christmas. Again, completed in cash in 2 weeks, which was another challenge in itself for the solicitor, but no problem, all done. So that's been sort of full of delays, but nothing substantial. Basically, it's just a bit out of area for the project manager that I'm using, which means that he's got a load of people that are working around Leeds, and this is in sort of an area of Bradford, which is just a bit more difficult to get to. So it's a bit of a pain to get people to price up bits and pieces of the work. It's not a problem, but you end up not being able to get people to just nip in and have a look, which seemed to have slowed loads of things down. We ended up then having a sort of a concern with damp, which we weren't really sure where it's coming from. We ended up having like a roofer look at it, and then a damp specialist come in. All this is happening sort of as we're approaching obviously this lockdown as it came about, and then it became very difficult to get trades on site, and obviously you don't want to pressure anyone to work anywhere they don't feel they're safe.
Let me just jump in there. So did you fix the issues?
Yes. So as of this week.
Do you know what the cause of the problem was?
I don't know in detail myself, no. We got a report from the specialist and a recommendation, and we believe it's fixed. I think they've used quite I want to say it's a resin,
Right.
on various parts of the walls, torn it off, back to brick, and gone over it, and then we just got to the point where it's all replastered now, ready to decorate again.
Sounds like they've tanked it with a slurry type.
We're getting to the point now where it's ready for decorating, and there isn't any obstacles in the way other than just getting people safely in and out, and just getting people to the site. Hoping it'll be done in the next 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4, and then that hopefully should be ready. Similar to the other one in terms of it'll be around its 6-month point that we're able to start doing viewings and get a tenant in, and then that'll be due for the same kind of deal as we were talking about the flat in terms of getting it refinanced and hopefully extracting the value.
Brilliant. So hopefully you might benefit from some people that are potentially in multi-let accommodation that, off the back of COVID that we're not mentioning, they might be looking for their own place rather than sharing. And hopefully you've timed it well, even though we've had these delays.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what the tenant profile is that is looking sort of quite urgently. It'll be an interesting experience, but I expect the areas of them to have sort of young professionals anyway, and the right kind of people in terms of what we're looking for the product that we've created. So it remains to be seen, and it'll just be interesting to see what happens with that.
So you've definitely been busy. Sounds like you need a rest.
Yeah, a little bit.
Are you looking for your next project?
Probably not right now. There's a lot of value there that needs extracting. I think there's a lot of mortgages that need to get over the line, and unless it was a phenomenal deal, I don't think I'd be moving in the next few months. But I'm definitely keen to re-enter the market in 2020. Probably after at least 2 of those 3 mortgages I've talked about are done. But yeah, I still think it's exciting, and I think there's going to be some deals to be had pushing forward.
Well, congratulations. I think it sounds like you've done pretty well with them 3 projects there. Like you said, we just need to get a little bit of traction, get things moving again, get surveyors in, get them all mortgaged. You've got a lot of things to put your signature on by the sounds of things.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of plates spinning and a lot of stuff to get over the line.